it with one that breathed lazy coils of steam. He lowered his face to the warmth and inhaled. Moisture coated his dry nose and throat. In pleasure, he sighed. She drank down the cold tea and set the bowl aside as he turned to her. As always, her real face was far more complex than the one he held in his memory. He never quite remembered the small scar through an eyebrow or the slight irregularity of her nose. It made him wonder how well he remembered Edne, who he had not seen since the spring. The stars were shimmering into existence in the deepening sky. Constellations he'd known all his life and yet had recently wondered if he'd ever see again. The stallion, the mare, the oxen and the yoke that bound them, the ghost dog, the eagle. It was strange seeing them framed in mountains on all sides. "Are you hungry?" Samarkar asked at last. "Shung is making something, Rahima is off somewhere, and the shaman rememberer is sleeping." "I'm waiting for the moons," Timur said. She'd know why. One moon would rise for every son or grandson of the great Kagan still living. Timur was checking on his family. A faint glow limned the ragged outline of the mountains to the east. When Timur glanced west, the stark light made the forested lower slopes there look like the rough undulations of the scholar stones they carved in Sung. Glaciers and smears of early snow glistened at their peaks, broken by the black, knife lines of ridges. His heart squeezed hard and fast, as if a woman caught his eye and smiled. He looked away as long as he could, though Samarkar reached down and threaded her fingers between his. When he drank the last tea from the bowl he still held in his right hand, it was barely warm. He set it on the rock beside him and turned to the rising moons. Once there had been hundreds, a gorgeous procession scattered across the night, light enough to read by. Now, a scant double handful drifted one by one into sight. There the violet moon, smeared with color like chalk, of Nilofer's son Chagatai. There Timur's own iron moon, red and charcoal and yet streaked bright. He waited for the pale circle of Koribuka's ghost moon, just the color of Afrit's creamy hide. It didn't rise. Only Samarkar's breathing told him she was in pain. He had clenched his hand through hers and must be squeezing the blood from her fingers. When he forced his to open, his own knuckles ached. He stroked her palm in apology. Briefly, she encircled his wrist. "Who?" she asked. He shook his head but said, "Koribuka is dead, if the sky can be trusted." "What can be trusted if the sky can't?" He tipped his head in acquiescence. "Who killed him?" "Another rival?" But she didn't sound confident. "Some Sung general? Does it change anything? We'll still have to fight someone." He was silent a long time before he answered. "It's the way the mill of the world grinds." She, too, left the quiet, fallow between them for a while before she asked, "Have you dreamed this?" His dreams, shamanistic, not quite prophetic, dated from before the blood vow that was the reason she had originally chosen to follow him. It had been her wizard's scientific bent that had brought her along in order to study the progress of his oath. That, and a loyalty to her sister-in-law Pema, whom they had smuggled out of the Black Palace one step ahead of the guards. He shrugged. "Not exactly. I dreamed Koribuka backward upon a red mare. That could be death, or it could mean that he goes blind to war." "Went blind," Samarkar corrected. "He's not going anywhere now." "Except on vulture wings," Timur replied.
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.